What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be super interesting. We're going to take a little break from the 𝙤𝙧𝙚𝙚 content. I got plenty more videos coming out for that car, but I want to shine the spotlight on my daily driver. If you guys have seen the last few videos, I've kind of teased it, kind of talked about it, but I really haven't done a video on it. I recently picked up kind of my dream truck from high school. So at first I was debating it, but I think I've decided we're just gonna build this truck. It's a really great place to start platform wise for one of these trucks. They've gone and gained a lot of traction recently, a lot more popularity. So I'd like to document my process and my experience ownership on one of these older GM trucks. Now, that's not to say that the 𝙤𝙧𝙚𝙚 content is going anywhere. I'm just gonna continue to get you guys videos on this car. As you know, this car is a constant battle. I'm always doing something to it, so there's gonna be no lack of 𝙤𝙧𝙚𝙚 content. I'm just gonna add some truck content. Alright, so if you've been following the channel for a while, you'd know I had a truck a couple of years ago, pretty much just like this. I had one of these trucks in high school. It was a cat eye. I now have the GMC Sierra, so I got that bubble eye, whatever they decided to call it, and I'm really stoked. I'm gonna build this truck. I'm gonna do it right. I'm gonna do it exactly how I wanted to do it when I was in high school. We'll talk about more the truck when I, get out and you guys can look at it. So I've had this truck for about 2 months now. I wanted to wait before I made a proper video on it just because I go through vehicles like crazy and I didn't want the 4Runner situation to kind of repeat itself. Long story short, I had a 4Runner for like a month. I made a couple videos on it and I had a few people that were interested in watching content on it. Only issue is by the time I got some traction, some people watching the videos, I had sold the 4Runner. I don't want to do that with this truck. I really do plan to keep this for a while. I'm going to try and commit to keep this for a while. My last truck was great. It treated me awesome. You kind of don't know what you're missing out on until it's gone, and that truck was definitely one of those situations. There's something to be said about an old vehicle that's just simple. They just don't make them like they used to. I know everybody says that, but it really is true. Like I said prior, I'm gonna try my hardest to kind of keep this truck for a while. I really want to build a truck that I wanted in high school. I loved my cat eye. It treated me so well. It was a super dependable, reliable truck, but at the time I was spending so much money on gas going back and forth to school and home and work and all that. It just wasn't even a feasible option at the time. Now I can finally, afford comfortably to just build this truck the way I want to build it. And believe it or not, my plans aren't very extravagant for this thing. I'm still gonna try and document everything. And the cool thing about these trucks is, it's not like BMWs. Like these trucks, you can just build them for cheap. There's not like super expensive options for most of the stuff, if that makes sense. All right, so I'm gonna talk about this truck real quick. I got it on Facebook, kind of where I get everything. And I just sold the E92. I literally found this truck probably within 4 or 5 days within selling the E92. I work pretty fast. And that's mainly because my criteria for one of these wasn't that strict. I kind of just wanted a truck that was lowish mileage, clean title, low, just good truck. I just wanted a good truck. I didn't really care for options that much. Now that I don't have it, I'm kind of kicking myself for not going with leather because my first truck also didn't have leather, so I was like, it won't be that big of a deal. I would love to have leather. I will just come out and say that. Aside from that, this truck's options pretty basic. It's got power seats, which is nice. My last truck didn't have that. But I don't really need a lot in a truck. It is a truck at the end of the day. There's just something to be said about GM from early GM vehicles. They're just stout, reliable, pretty much bulletproof as long as you do basic maintenance just like any other vehicle. These things go for hundreds of thousands of miles. This is the 5.3. Yes, I would have loved a 6-liter. Yes, I would have loved a Duramax, but my main goal for one of these trucks was to not buy something for the exception. So while I would have loved to have a Duramax and drive around and roll coal and all that shit, I really don't need a Duramax. I don't need the extra cost in my life for a Duramax. The likelihood that I need to tow something that this 5.3 can't is pretty rare. And the 6.0 again would have been a great option because I've towed with this truck I think 3 times now within my ownership. I've had it for 2 months, and it could tow better. It doesn't tow excellent. It could tow a lot better. There's a lot of things that I can do to make it tow better. So does that justify a whole new truck with a different power plant? Absolutely not, in my opinion. I love the 5.3. Again, I would have loved to have a Duramax, would have loved to have a 6.0. I would have loved to have a brand spanking new truck, but at the end of the day, you know, I weigh out my options. I weigh out what's financially, you know, like smart, at least for me, and where I am at my point in life. A new truck, I don't need a payment. I don't want payments. I don't like payments. And I would rather just comfortably be able to build something and not even think twice about it than, you know, be underwater with a truck payment. Not to say that everybody that gets a truck payment is like that. It's just, that's how I feel about it. And that's why I decided to buy, you know, a almost 20-year-old truck. I love these trucks. They're nostalgic. This is like, really the truck that I'm sitting in right now is pretty much as good as it gets for an old truck like this. And we're gonna show you, I'm gonna show you, we're gonna talk about it, and hopefully you'll get kind of a better idea of what I'm talking about. And another weird thing is the market for these trucks is definitely spiked, like a lot. So they used to be a lot cheaper. Luckily, I got this truck pretty much avoiding all of the COVID tax. I got this truck at a very, very good price. So good that it was one of those Facebook things where, you know, I had to act fast. I had cash, luckily, and I was able to just go and scoop it up within like a few hours of it being posted. I was the first person to come look at it. Obviously, I just took it home, and it's just too good of a deal to pass up. Not to say that I got it for free, not to say that I got it for like dirt cheap. I did get it, you know, at a good price in today's market. So I didn't feel bad about it. It definitely has some things that should be addressed, that I will be addressing and will be taken care of on camera, so hopefully you guys can get an idea of it as well. I want to build this truck right. I want to do it how I wanted to build it, you know, when I was younger. Not to say that I'm super old now, just a few years has passed. Definitely my taste and stuff has grown. And I'm definitely all for quality of work now, as instead of just rushing stuff, I'd rather just take my time with something like this. If I'm gonna keep this truck for a few years, I'd rather just do it right, do it once. And yeah, hopefully you guys will enjoy the truck content. With all that being said, I'm gonna find a spot to show you guys this truck. All right, I'm gonna hop out here. It's a little, and by little I mean a lot, windy outside. I want to try and give you guys a little walk around, but we'll probably talk about it in the truck just so you don't get blasted with wind the whole time. Unfortunately, I cannot avoid any of the wind noise, so I'm just gonna sit in the truck. I'm gonna tell you about it. I'll show you some B-roll. I'm gonna do my best on the editing, try and make it entertaining. Anyways, here we go. This is a 2003 GMC Sierra Z71. It's got 118,000 miles on it now. This is a one-owner truck, or was a one-owner truck up until I purchased it. Kind of weird being like the second owner of a truck, seeing that title stamped with, you know, from 2003 with 152 miles when it was first titled. It's like crazy to me that this, of all vehicles that I've owned, is the one that I get that. It's just super cool. But yeah, very awesome to have. I mean, this thing is truly a grandpa truck, grandpa spec, everything about it. It's just crazy to, you know, get a truck that's at this point 20 years old or older. You know, these trucks 99 to 06 or 07, whatever it is, they're old, they're beat up. A lot of these trucks got cut up, and with what's happening now with, like, you know, how people are modifying them, it's really tough to find a really nice example. This truck is so OG and so like good example. I have the original window sticker, like I said, second owner. It's just weird to be in a truck this old that feels this nice. This is not black, it's not silver, it is the carbon metallic, I think it's called. It's super awesome gray color. It looks like a bass boat when it's clean and you get up close. All the flake, all the sparkle is super cool. I'm not a huge color guy on trucks. I feel like it's really not a big deal. But I love black. I love black vehicles. I don't like owning black vehicles. The only reason being the maintenance on a black vehicle. So gray is like the next best color, and this truck pulls it off really well. Additionally, the GMC front end is growing on me a lot more than it did initially. I think it's gonna look really good with what I have planned for this truck, so I'm pretty stoked about that. And aside from that, it's straight. There's no dents, there's no dings. There's like one little nick on the fender or whatever, but the paint's in excellent shape. That was kind of like a big thing to me. I didn't really care about color, but the paint had to be in good shape. And if you guys see these trucks going around, you know, they're mass produced. There's a million of them out there. Most of them paint shot, except obviously on like the pewter color or like the lighter colors, but like even the white, all that stuff just chips off. This paint is really good. I think it was garaged for at least some of its life. All right, I'm gonna show you guys the interior. This interior is really, really good. It's not optioned well, but it's very good. Okay, you'll notice these seats literally still have like the shape of the seat. So for cloth interior, that's pretty impressive. Now it is cloth. I believe that's just standard in the Z71. You could option it with the leather, but the cloth is really, really good for its age and for the mileage. 118,000, this stuff looks brand new. Nobody ever sat in these seats, I swear. I don't know how this thing still has its shape. Aside from that, you know, it's an old GM interior. The headliner is great, no sag. It's not even peeling on the corners or anything like that. It's just super good. I will say I'm super stoked on steering wheel controls. I also have these cloth insert, which is kind of weird on the door, but I do like it. It adds a little bit more class. I think that this is just standard on the GMC. Keep in mind, I had the cat-eye Chevy, so I think the GMC, to my knowledge, is like a little bit more premium. So I think this is the same spec, same packages as my last truck, but it's a GMC, so it has a little bit better standard features that really come in handy for now, 2022. Even the technology back then, having that now is a lot nicer than having a truck that has nothing. We have the volume controls, and now that I wired up my Apple CarPlay, we'll talk about that in a second, I can actually use this to skip the song, do volume, all the steering wheel controls work. We have the MPG gauge, we have all the MPG controls, we have the control for the odometer or whatever the little screen infotainment thing there. It also has the electronic four-wheel drive. And by electronic, I just mean the four-wheel drive is on switches instead of the shifter down on the floor. Some people really like that, but I have horrible vision. So trying to find the little plastic, you know, engraving for the gear selection is just not for me. I love the push button. I haven't even used it yet. I say it like I'm gonna use four-wheel drive a ton, never. Aside from that, I think it doesn't really have any extra features. It's just in really good shape, most of it. So I did get ahead of myself a little bit on this truck. I did some modifications off camera, some stuff I wanted to just get out of the way right away. So I was a little impatient. I was gonna record these things. I actually tried to record a couple, but I just went along and did them anyways. So I've only done a few things. I've done the drop-in D-ring things that go on the bed, which is super nice to have, especially just securing cargo or putting a tarp over the bed, whatever. It's just so nice. They're only like 30 bucks. They retract into the little system. They're super cool. I did exhaust. This truck already had exhaust, but it was a super weird center exit old man setup. It had some weird Flowmaster on it. I put another Flowmaster on it, but I did a Flowmaster Super 10. I'm gonna do a whole video on the exhaust setup on this truck because it is way better than my last truck. It sounds really good. So yeah, we'll do a whole video on that because I think it's a really good, I think I got the recipe, I got the sauce for this thing, as in terms of how to make these 5.3s sound pretty good. Now the other thing I did, which I would say is probably the most important, most crucial thing, is I did an Apple CarPlay. It's a JVC, so it's not like the nicest screen, but I wasn't trying to break the bank. You can obviously spend a bunch of money on these, but this system, this unit was only 400 bucks. I think it was like 380 after tax, you know, all that. So I did the JVC, Apple CarPlay. It's wired, it's not wireless, whatever. I don't care about wireless CarPlay. It's easier to just have it wired anyways. It does have Bluetooth capability. I've wired it in with the steering wheel controls, so that was like an extra 150 bucks to buy that module and the adapter, so I didn't have to chop up the harness. I also did door speaker upgrades. You're not gonna be able to see them through the speaker grills, but I did Alpine all the way through. Now this truck still doesn't have a sub, it doesn't have an amp or anything like that, so these speakers are really underpowered right now. It's really gonna wake them up when I do power it with an amp. So I kind of just like future-proofed this truck. I knew I was gonna do that eventually. I still haven't done it, but I've done full speakers, full Apple CarPlay. It modernizes the truck a ton and it's not that expensive, especially if you can do it yourself. I spent like 800 bucks on my door speakers plus the Apple CarPlay and all that, and I did it all within a few days and it was no big deal. But one thing I will stress is finding one of these trucks bone stock is super nice, because on my last truck, it was technically stock, but there had been some head unit in there before, and when I had gone to put mine in, it was all cut up and gross, and this truck was super nice to work with. I bought the adapter, I plugged it in, and I didn't have to cut it up or anything like that. I had the AC serviced. I was gonna make a video on that as well, but I had somewhere to be and I was just like, I need AC. So I did have the AC serviced with full recharge, and they replaced some Schrader valves or something like that. The AC cranks now. It blows super cold, which is obviously awesome in a daily. The only other thing that I'm waiting on doing that I won't film on camera is I'm gonna get this thing fully tinted. We're gonna tint it out. I'm not gonna go 5 or anything like that. I'm not even gonna go 20. I'll probably just go 35 and I'll do a sun strip and all that. With all of that being said, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you're new to the channel, make sure to check out some of the other videos. I probably have a couple Silverado videos years back you could go back and watch. Probably not that fun to watch now. I know there's an audience out there for these trucks, so if you are into these trucks, if you have one, if you stumbled upon this video, make sure to drop a comment down below. Let me know what you would like to see done to this truck. Let me know what kind of truck you have. Stay tuned for the next content because it is coming. I got stuff for this truck in mind. I really haven't ordered anything, but we're gonna get to it. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Peace. In case you thought I was fucking with you, it's really windy, so sorry.